Hello and welcome to this edition of One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili and thank you for joining us. Hello, Mr. Leggett, how are you?
How are you? Glad to be back.
Very well, thank you. Well, the temperatures are getting a little cooler overnight. So the outdoor pools are closed.
Right.
Summer is pretty much over. How is your summer?
It's pretty busy. Quite a busy summer. It's not a time which you totally relax, but a time to continue some of the progress you've made on some issues and look at organizations and association memberships, the things we normally do, and to make sure that the county is well connected with state and national organizations. So it's a pretty busy summer.
Now, school children and youth are back to school. MCPS, the superintendent has announced that this is the largest enrollment ever in the history of the public school system. So what does it mean legislatively for you coming up in Annapolis next year for the session?
Well, certainly it would mean that we have to gear to try to fight very hard to get additional resources for our school system, both in terms of the growth of the system, but also in recognizing some of the challenges that we have in closing the achievement gap, making certain we have lower or smaller class size, and having all the equipment and resources that are necessary. It also means on the capital side that we have some challenges as well, because we have to make certain that we are repairing existing schools, and so that we're maintaining the schools as well as we possibly can, as well as providing expansion for additional space for students as well. So it has a double impact on the quality of education, both in terms of the operational side as well as the capital side. But I'm convinced that Superintendent Smith and his staff are ready for this population growth. We have to make certain that we respond in kind to provide them with the resources that they need in order to fulfill their mission.
MCPS announced that there are 900 new educators within the system. Is this a whole lot of new educators for the system? Lots of turnaround for MCPS?
I think so. I can't recall having that quite high a number. We've had some outstanding educators, meaning people in the classroom as well as support staff as well. And you want to maintain and keep as many of them as possible, but at some point in time you have some turnover. But in addition to those that we've hired to bring in new people as well as for retirement, this is a pretty big system, but 900 is a pretty high number. So I think that's a little bit unusual from the time that I can best remember. I don't think I recall numbers that high before.
Let's talk about the school bus camera, the program. Half of the school buses are armed pretty much with video cameras, trying to record those county drivers that do not stop while the buses are stopped. We're doing a big campaign right now because apparently, according to the police department, obviously a lot of the drivers still do not stop and are caught violating that one stop sign. A message for county drivers, Mr. Leggett.
Well, if you run it, we're going to catch you. And you have to keep in mind what's at stake here. The protection of our young kids and families that are out at school stops around buses. There could not be a clearer message as to harm that driving recklessly around school buses and not stopping could cause. So as a result, we want to make certain that we reinforce the earlier message that you must stop, that there are cameras and those cameras will catch you, and the penalties and the fault will be pretty severe if you run the school bus signs and not stop and follow the appropriate caution. We cannot afford to have kids who are in jeopardy, and so we put the cameras on the buses for a particular reason. The reason is that we want you to stop. We want to remind you, and for those who are not going to stop, we're going to catch you.
And that fine is $250.
$250, yes.
If caught by the camera,
That's
but
right.
if caught by a police officer, it's $570 with 3 points in the driver's license.
That's correct.
Watch out. Let's talk about, Mr. Leggett, this summer was the 1-year anniversary of that tragedy at the Flower Branch Apartments in Silver Spring. Fire explosion, 7 county residents passed away, many displaced, and sort of as a result of that, you recently announced the Renters Have Rights campaign. Basically, the Department of Housing and Community Affairs will be doing more inspections in apartments throughout the county. How is that going to work out?
Well, first of all, I'm still saddened by the loss of life, the fact that you had the number of people who died as a result of the tragedy, as well as the number displaced as a result of that tragedy, is something that should not have happened. And we continue to work with the families and a number of organizations throughout Montgomery County one, to make certain that we do everything we possibly can to relocate and make certain that the transition for the families are properly taken care of. In addition to that, we want to make certain that it not happen again. We can't provide a direct cause to it, but one of the things that we've had some concern about was the deterioration of some of the apartment buildings because of the age and other factors engaged in therein. And so Councilmember Mark Eldridge, who I've given a lot of credit to, and Tom Hucker, been fighting for years to make certain that we do a more robust inspection. Montgomery County already does more inspections than probably any other jurisdiction around. But the new campaign that we've announced, i.e. renters have rights, will concentrate on several areas, one of which is to make certain that renters understand what their rights are. Secondly, that they can report violations, code violations to us in an anonymous way. And then thirdly, that we are going to engage much more rapidly in inspection. We'll do more inspections, do them more frequently, and you can report that through our system, calling 311 and informing us the challenges that you may have as it relates to some code violation. So this is a campaign that I think will provide us with a better database for the conditions of our buildings and to respond to renters' concerns much more rapidly.
How are those inspections going to take place as far as priority is concerned? And has the Department of Housing and Community Affairs received more additional resources, more funding in order to have obviously more inspectors out and about?
Well, first of all, keep in mind, we do more inspections than virtually any other jurisdiction, but that should not be the standard for which we measure whether or not we're doing the job that we want to do. We should do the job that is necessary and appropriate given the number of facilities we have in Montgomery County. I think we provided just about $2 million for additional efforts to outreach, to hire additional inspectors, and to go out and to make certain that we're doing everything feasible to get the message out and to respond to those challenges. I believe that the way the process will go, we will look at some of the older buildings, those who've had repeated violations, and go back to those first and work back down through the list according to the challenges that we face. But the older buildings and buildings that have had repeat violations will be those that will get probably the most, the rigorous and most direct response to this challenge immediately.
Are we talking about higher citations as well for?
Yes, higher citations and making certain that people pay those fines and but more importantly, to make the corrections.
Okay, Mr. Leggett, we got to take a short break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. Stay tuned.
Here's your chance to save money and help the environment. Bring your reusable bag when you shop and you'll save 5 cents for every store bag you don't need. Retailers in Montgomery County charge 5 cents for the plastic or paper bags they provide. Why? Because plastic bags are the biggest single source of stream and waterway litter, causing pollution and flooding. And every year, Montgomery County spends $3 million on cleanup. So do yourself and the environment a favor. Bring your reusable bag when you shop. You'll fight litter and keep the change.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Hey, mister, down here. You illegally passed the stop school bus. I'm placing you in timeout, and this timeout means big fines, plus you really could have hurt somebody. That's why school buses are being equipped with video cameras to help kids like me stay safe, so respect the bus.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili. Thank you for continuing to watch. Mr. Leggett, let's talk about economic development. Obviously, good news from one of the big fashion companies in downtown Silver Spring, Discovery Communications, staying in the county. How many jobs does that mean?
Well, in addition to the jobs that are already there, we are going to see an additional 300 jobs in Silver Spring. That is that they're going to consolidate some of the existing facilities that they have and people in the Silver Spring. Discovery has been a mainstay for a number of years in Silver Spring. It's a strong corporate citizen, corporate entity within our county. We are delighted that they are going to expand. We're delighted that they're going to renovate the building that they have and have even a stronger presence in Montgomery County. This is good news for the county, good news for the state, and good news for Silver Spring because they bring a great deal with them, large numbers of employees, people who are actively engaged in the community, and we will have some additional workers as well. So it's a mainstay for Montgomery County, and I'm delighted with the progress that we're making on the economic development front.
Since we're talking about jobs and employment, let's talk about the minimum wage. Council member Mark Elledge reintroduced his legislation to raise the minimum wage in the county to $15 an hour by 2022, correct? There was a study. There were some issues with the study. Where do we stand today? Have you spoken with a council member as to what's going to happen with that particular legislation?
Well, first of all, the study that we asked, we had some question related to the methodology. They are currently in the process of looking at some additional questions that we have with Montgomery County. But keep in mind that in the prior legislation, it was voted down by, well, at least the vote was 5-4, and I vetoed it based on the information we had at the time. And so it was not dependent solely upon the study to determine the direction that we had as it relates to the initial vote. It was only utilized as it relates to the future, to be utilized as it relates to what kind of additional changes we should make if we go to a $15 minimum. I think the question that we have here is to look very carefully at some of the things that I raised before. One, I think to some degree it does place us at a competitive disadvantage because we will be the only jurisdiction in the state of Maryland and only one in this region other than the District of Columbia going that high. Secondly, we have a fairly high minimum wage already exists in Montgomery County that's well above the national average. Thirdly, you have to think about what happens with our young employees. Think about what happens to the nonprofits in Montgomery County because the county helps to subsidize many of the nonprofits, and we are in fact providing much of the resources that would help them to meet that minimum wage. And of course, we have to think about workers who are coming into the field for the first time, young workers, small businesses as well. And so if it is possible for us to get something that addresses all of those concerns, it may be possible for us to increase the minimum wage. But I want to make certain that the council is in a position to do so. We are in fact talking to individual council members now to see where they are. As you've indicated, Councilmember Eldridge has reintroduced a bill that made some additional changes to it. Whether or not those changes go far enough to warrant getting support from his colleagues and capable of getting my vote or my signature on it remains to be seen. But we're working to make certain that we dot every I, cross every T, to look at this very seriously before a final decision is made.
Let's talk about the moving of the Confederate statue that was located here in Rockville by the Red Brick Courthouse. It's being located somewhere near the Potomac, outside of this jurisdiction. Why did you make that decision?
Well, a couple of reasons. We had a big, robust discussion almost a year ago related to the statute, and I indicated at that point in time I didn't think the statute needed to be on county property, but I was willing to relocate it, not to tear it down and deface it, and not to make certain that it's not seen, not to deny some of the historical aspects of it, but there's no need for the county to only display and reflect one side of the Confederate war that we had, the Civil War that we had involving just the Confederate side, that it needed to reflect everything. So our choices were to provide a much broader contextual print for us to look at, which would have been quite costly, or to remove the statute in a location that people can see it. I decided to move it to Poolesville, placed it at a historical site at White's Ferry. This is a location that General Early crossed the Potomac on his way to challenge Washington, D.C. many years ago. And so it's within Montgomery County. It's at a historic location, and so if you want to see it, private, yeah, you want to see it, you can go to White's Ferry and see it. It's in Montgomery County. So I think this was a good balanced approach to resolving the concerns that some had raised, those who wanted the statute in the county, those who wanted it to be displayed, and those who wanted it totally removed from county property, as I did. And so this is the balance that I came up, and based on the reaction that I've received thus far, compared to other jurisdictions, I think that this is a more reasonable approach to how we deal with this, the historic significance of these statutes.
Let's talk about the natural disasters nationwide, hurricanes, Texas, Florida, and so forth. Montgomery County did assist, participated, went out to Texas, correct?
Right.
And the other thing, a reminder to county residents that September is National Emergency Preparedness Month. Importance of being connected to Alert Montgomery and so forth. Know that HO's in Montgomery County this year. Snowstorm is coming though,
Yeah.
so a message to county residents to be ready.
Well, first of all, just think about what has happened over the last 5 to 8 years in Montgomery County. We had snow emergencies, ice emergencies, rain. We have derecho, something that I never heard of before until it actually happened here. We've had earthquakes, we've had fires, we've had a number of things that have occurred in the county. Loss of power and the need for emergency services. So that it's not possible for us to prevent or preclude emergencies from occurring, but we can be better prepared from an individual citizen standpoint of view. That is, making certain that you follow all the instructions, prepare yourself with food, appropriate medication, and take the warnings and the signs that we provide for you to make those adjustments. And we are better prepared as a county, developing greater resources so that we can respond to the challenges, training our personnel appropriately. So we want people to be aware that emergencies are likely to occur. We're not certain of the type, but we know that we've had them in the past, and we want the active participation and engagement and involvement of our community so that they would be less severe and cause less harm, both in terms of life and property.
I know we're still a little far from the snow season, but Snow Summit takes place early in the month. Are we ready for snow? I have to ask. It's coming. It's cool
We will
already.
be ready for snow. We have a snow summit, and I've participated in all of our snow summits to make sure that we are properly trained. We have the resources, the personnel, the technology, all to help us to deal with any particular emergencies that we'll have. And that, again, you can't deny snow from falling, unfortunately, but we can try to make it less severe than it otherwise would be.
Mr. Leggett, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back. We're going to talk about several transportation issues. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Introducing Ride On Extra, coming to Route 355, fall of 2017. The bus with less stop and more go. Regular Ride On service has 80 stops between Lake Forest Transit Center and the Medical Center Metro Station. Ride On Extra has 85% fewer stops. Plus, Ride On Extra is all about the extras. Free Wi-Fi, USB charging ports, real-time info displays, and runs every 10 minutes. It's Ride On Extra. Less stop, more go.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Are you sure they can recycle us, Clamshell?
Hey, Dome, we're on a new recycling postcard.
I can't wait to make a new start. Maybe I'll be a red carpet at a big premiere.
And I'll get to paint the White House.
Shh, here he comes. Now you can recycle more plastics in Montgomery County, including #1 PET plastics such as clamshells, deli containers, trays, lids, domes, and cups. We're in! For more information on recycling, contact the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311. The wait is over. Recycle more plastics today.
Hello, welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned, Mr. Leggett. Let's talk about transportation issues. First and foremost, Ride On Extra bus service on 355, a new corridor, new buses, amazing, incredible buses, and free the entire month of October.
Yeah, free for the month of October.
October,
Yes,
just October.
All right. Well, we want to make certain that we respond to some of the challenges we're having along the 355 I-270 corridor. It's a very congested path of travel between Lake Forest Mall all the way to Bethesda. So we are providing a bus service that should be very good for users with Wi-Fi on it, making fewer stops that would get you there sooner, hopefully to get people out of their cars and enjoy a ride that I think would be far more convenient and provide you with the kind of assistance that you need. We are concerned about that corridor, and we're working on a number of things throughout the entire county in terms of bus rapid transit, working to make sure that we show up Metro and our own bus system. But this is a new innovative approach that we've taken, to encourage people to get out of their cars, take advantage of this ride service, and for the month of October at least, you could do so free.
2017
That's right.
only.
That's right.
Let's talk about also the regular ride-on bus service, extending the hours of free service on Saturdays for seniors and also people with disabilities.
Yeah, part of our senior initiative was to recognize that we need to do more for seniors. One of the big challenges they have certainly is transportation, and when you're on a fixed income and you want to get out, enjoy many of the things that are happening within the county, to make certain that you make your office visits to doctors or to go shopping, to any number of things that seniors will want to do, they need that convenience to do so. And so providing this service for them, as well as those with some level of disability, it would help them to utilize the service much better. And so we are encouraging their use. We think that it's a good indication of the county's responsiveness to our seniors and those who need the service, and we could do so at a modest cost that I think helps both the county and for our residents as well.
During the summer, we also had Maryland Governor Larry Hogan visit the county and announced the $97 million for the construction of the Watkins Mill interchange on I-270. Construction has started on that, correct?
Oh yes, it has started. We were there for the groundbreaking ceremony.
Patience for the people up county, though.
That's right. I want to thank the governor for his efforts to respond to a great deal of concern raised by everyone throughout the Gaithersburg, Rockville area, utilizing the I-270 corridor and the congestion that we have and the circumventive way people go about making that turn now to get to businesses and homes and residents in the Watkins Mill area. This will provide a direct link right onto Watkins Mill and from 270 and make it far, far more convenient. So I cannot be more thankful that this is now started, and hopefully we'll get to it much sooner and provide some traffic relief, both on 270 as well as 355 and the surrounding communities around the Watkins Mill interchange. And
let's talk also about the Purple Line, groundbreaking in Prince George's County. A little halt. I call it the stop and go line. What's going on with the Purple Line now?
Well, you remember I said to you some time ago when we had some delays at the legal level that I was convinced that those things may be resolved and that ultimately we will have the Purple Line going forward, that it may cost us a little bit more and take a little bit longer, but given the need for the line, given the investments that have been made and the strong push at both state, national, and federal levels, local levels, we are poised, I think, to move forward. And so I was delighted to participate with the Secretary of Transportation, both state and national, with the governor and members of our county council, as well as Senator Van Hollen and Congresswoman Brown, in the groundbreaking ceremony to move us forward. And so we are now going forward, and I look for the line to be built in short order. Okay. Let's talk about the final opening of the Stringtown Road between St. Clair Road and Snowden Farm Parkway in the part of town known as Clarksburg area. Also to relieve congestion and wider roads, another big project. Well, it is. It was a good time for us to go to Clarksburg to make good on a promise that we'd made. Councilmember Rice, who represents the area so well up there, has been reminding me for years the need to get this road completed, working with the private developer and working with the community, we were able to get it done. This will provide a great deal of relief. This road had a number of accidents and collisions, and by having this extended road open, widened with bike trails and other amenities along the road, it is safer. It provides more convenience for our residents and a greater connectivity to many of the residents and businesses throughout Clarksburg. And almost simultaneously, the Neatwood Lake bike trail opened as well. Yeah. Look at what we've done in almost 1 week. The Purple Line, which is a major transit way, opening up the direct link between the medical center and Bethesda as it relates to our new bus service. providing a road in Stringtown, providing the interconnection at Watkins Mill, and also a hiker-biker trail on Neeswood Road. That's a tremendous level of achievement in a relatively short period of time, both in terms of mass transit, roadway, interchange, as well as pedestrian safety, all combined in a relatively short period of time.
You can call this the summer of transportation.
That's right, and I want to thank our Department of Transportation, Al Rosti and his entire staff. They do a terrific job. Bruce Johnson and all of those guys have been working hard on delivering these projects, and you would see the benefits for many, many years to come. Al and his team have done a terrific job.
And 2 libraries also completed during the summer the refresh programs. The Little Falls Library in the branch in Bethesda, and Aspen Hill Library as well in Kensington. The refresh projects are so successful.
Oh, they are.
Little money for a lot more technology and convenience.
Yeah, well, what we came up with, at least the department, with my blessing to some degree, is a new approach that, you can wait a much longer period of time to get a virtually completely new library, or we can refresh the existing libraries in a relatively short period of time. And when you look at these refresh programs, a program that we've received national awards. I was at the White House and touting this particular program and how well we've been able to convert and transition older libraries to something that you think are completely new, but they are basically refreshed at lower cost, provides for additional support within the libraries, also additional hours, and they are refreshed and look just as good as they were new.
And Mr. Leggett, just to finalize, fall isn't fall unless you're working already on the FY19 operating budget. What's the financial picture like?
Well, the FY19 budget is working on me. I think it's a better approach to it. It's going to be another challenging year, but I think that we've been able to cobble together the resources that are needed in order to respond to our highest priorities. We will continue to do that, but when you look at the national and state level, when there are less resources, as we talked earlier, higher school enrollment, challenges as it relates to transportation, and trying to enhance economic development and housing, just to name a few, as well as public safety. It's a real tough order, but I think that we'll put together a budget that reflects our priorities and reflects the kinds of things that I think our residents want, given the limited resources that we have.
Okay, well, Mr. Leggett, we ran out of time. I'm certain we're going to really talk about the budget in the next taping of 101. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And for you watching us at home, do remember, any information, do visit montgomerycountymd.gov. I'm Lorna Virgili, and thank you for watching.
Yeah.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
In Montgomery County, we have a goal to reduce waste and recycle 70% of all waste by 2020. By recycling and reducing waste, we save natural resources and make our community even better. So recycle at home, work, school, everywhere, and keep recycling going. For more information, call the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311 or visit montgomerycountymd.gov/recycling.
Keep it going.
Recycle more now.